And now, the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
And with the presidential race now inside of 50 days, there are a lot of questions that still need to be asked of Kamala Harris, and bluntly, she's got some splaining to do. To me, the most significant question remains the one that Donald Trump asked her in the closing minutes of the debate the other night when he said, "You've been there for 3.5 years. Why haven't you done the things that you now say you're going to do?" But there's a corollary to that, and that is, Ms. Harris, why have you changed your position on virtually every significant issue in this campaign? I mean, you're allowed to change your mind on issues from time to time, but every single one in the course of a month without any explanation whatsoever. But now there comes some really, really serious questions. Most notably, why does Iran want Kamala Harris to be elected president? You know, we've now got proof from the FBI itself, hardly a friend of Donald Trump's, that there were documents stolen by the Iranian government and their surrogates here in the U.S. and given to the Harris-Biden campaign. Think about that. You know, the last time I can remember stolen documents and break-ins and that kind of stuff was the Watergate era. We simply don't do that in America. And why does Iran want to weigh in favor of Kamala Harris? That's a question inquiring minds want to know the answer to. And a few more issues have come to the fore since we last spoke. Again, in her own words, Kamala Harris told folks that she believes that taxpayers, all of us, ought to be paying for transgender surgeries for illegal immigrants. Think about that. And this is as kooky as it gets. Taxpayer money used to pay for transgender surgeries for illegal immigrants. And is the media talking about it? Of course they're not. But people need to be asking the Harris campaign, and Kamala Harris in particular, why? Why do you believe that? Why do you think that's good public policy? Why do you think that's going to strengthen America? Of course, she doesn't have any answers, as she hasn't to any of the questions she's been asked. She was asked recently, what would you do on day one to strengthen the economy? And she went to this diatribe about I was born a middle-class kid and my neighbors had nice lawns. I mean, that's a great advertisement for Miracle-Gro, but it's not really a public policy discussion, which the people of the United States are entitled to. And this nonsense that she's been given to spew out every time she's asked a question about, I was raised a middle-class child, really isn't true either. She was the daughter of a university professor. They're hardly low-paid folks, and a Marxist to boot. If you remember in that debate, Donald Trump called her father a Marxist. If any candidate had had that said about their parent, and it wasn't true, they'd have been all over it. But she stood there mute, didn't say a word about that. The same way, when President Trump asked her, would you support abortion in the 8th and 9th month, she refused to answer, which tells you all you need to know, tells all of us all we need to know. And so the campaign continues with a lot of questions lingering out there, and I hope that all of us will be asking our friends who still may be undecided or wavering to ask those questions and demand those answers. And as weird as the Harris proposal that we use taxpayer funds to pay for illegal immigrants' transgender surgeries, her other answers on the issue of immigration remain just completely devoid of any reality. She's now running completely opposite where she was not that long ago when she called building a wall immoral, un-American, and medieval, and now features ads with pictures of a wall in them. I mean, you simply can't do that kind of flip-flop and get away with it, or you shouldn't be allowed to. And the mainstream media isn't going to call her to account, so those who utilize social media to get a different point of view across need to be asking those questions all the time, because every poll we see shows that immigration is right up there next to the economy, which always trumps every issue. And those are the two issues that Donald Trump does best on. The economy, getting inflation under control in particular, and immigration. And his record was unparalleled. The Biden-Harris record is a disaster. She was, quote unquote, the border czar when they stripped out 92 executive orders that Donald Trump had put into place, 92, and then brought back one and said, oh, look what it's done. Well, gee, yeah. After 3+ years, you finally got around to doing one thing right. something you should have not had to do in the first place had you left the Trump initiatives in place. So that really is the state of the race right now. And it is a neck-and-neck race. My home state of Pennsylvania looms as the largest prize in the electoral map. And so I'm asking everybody across the Commonwealth to do their extra bit, because for now, that is the best 60-ish seconds of your week.
Looks like Nancy Pelosi has been getting away with this for a long time.
I wanted to ask you why you and your husband back in March of 2008 accepted and participated in a very large IPO deal from Visa. At a time there was major legislation affecting the credit card companies making its way through the House. And did you consider that to be a conflict of interest?
I don't know what your point is of your question. Is there some point that you want to make with that?
I guess what I'm asking is, do you think it's all right for a speaker to accept a very preferential, favorable stock deal?
Well, we didn't.
You participated in the IPO.
Well, I have many
And at the time you were Speaker of the House. You don't think it was a conflict of interest or had the appearance of a conflict of interest?
It only has the appearance if you decide that you're going to have elaborate on a false premise. But it's not true, and that's that.